Welcome to the Women's and Girls in Science panel. Today we're going to be addressing the importance of reducing the gap in girls' choices for STEAM careers. To avoid this topic, I am surrounded by a huge important experts on this team. So I will read you about a little bit this situation. Oh no. Oh no, Camila, please stop this. My file is closed. Sorry.
Tranquila, Sara. Si quieres, damos inicio desde... No voy a volver a poner la cortinilla. Si quieres, inicia otra vez desde de nuevo. Los voy a bajar y vuelvo
Permítanos.
te subo.
Sí, por favor.
Ok.
Welcome. Welcome to this panel, Women and Girls in Sciences, where we are going to be talking about the importance of reduce the gap in girls to choose by a STEAM career. And to talk about this topic, we are we have very important people here. I am surrounded by a huge panel of experts, and I just want to give you some information about this important topic. Uh, Girls and women are systematically tracked away from science and math through their education, limiting their training and options to go into these fields as adults. Women make only 28% of the workforce in science, technology, engineering, and math (STEM), and men vastly outnumber women majoring in most STEM fields in college. The gender gaps are particularly high in some of the fastest growing and highest paid jobs of the future, like computer science and engineering. Giving women equal opportunities to pursue and thrive in STEM careers helps narrow the gender gap, enhances women's economic security, and ensures a diverse and talented STEM workforce and prevent biases in these fields and these products and services they produce. Well, this is important information. And to talk about this, we have here our colleagues in this panel that I will introduce to you. So we have here Alba Gutierrez. She's an educator, outreach manager at Center for Education Integrating Science, Mathematics, and Computer at Georgia Institute of Technology. We have Adriana Reyes Newell. She's a physicist. She works for laser physics at NSA. She's an ASA scientific at Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, USA. We have also Ada Monson. She's a chief meteorologist at WAPA TV. She's also founder and president board of directors Eco Exploratorio Incorporated and Museo de Ciencias in Puerto Rico. And we have Shara Watson. She's an executive director at Scientific Research Council at Jamaica. So I want to welcome all my colleagues here. And we have a few questions that we are looking for to hear from there. And we are trying to know about her experience and how they have been motivated about and how they motivate another girls. So we're going to start with the first question. And we have an order. First of all, I will ask Alba to respond to this question. Then I will ask Shara to answer to this question. Then I will ask Adriana, and then we have Ada to talk about this. Each one of you will have 2 minutes to talk about this. And the question is, what motivated you to be women in science, and how has your path been in this area? So now I ask Alba, please.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate being invited to this. So just wanted to start with that. So I work for the Center of Education, integrating science, computing, and mathematics, as you mentioned. So we are the K through 12 outreach center at Georgia Tech. The only thing that my colleagues and I, 50 something of us, the focus on its outreach through the kindergarten all the way to 12th grade community. We work with students, and when I started at Georgia Tech, I started actually working, doing outreach and promoting STEM education for just in general for Latinx students, Hispanic students working in our schools and being part of our schools in the K through 12 community. Our program is called GoSTEM. And so we were trying to promote education. We did fairs. We have done, speaker series. We have done, definitely all of the things to promote education. So I started actually working in a mentoring program at the middle and the high school. And so we promoted education to and provided role models and found, encouraging things to actually tell the students as they were thinking about studying or taking STEM as their career, as their potential career, but also, when they were thinking about choosing a major in college. So by the time they were going in there with an informed mind, with an informed decision, being encouraged about it. So I would work a lot with that. I have enjoyed it, kind of changing the next generation of students. We have had quite a few students who have actually pursued STEM as their career. And right now they're actually majoring in college, finishing their degrees. And many of them are actually working in the field as of right now, which is very exciting to hear that.
We continue, please, with Shara.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So happy to be here with this esteemed panelists. In terms of what motivated me to go into STEM and choose a career in STEM, I'm actually a chemist. I did my studies here in Jamaica at the University of the West Indies, and currently I am the executive director of Jamaica's principal research and development institution, the Scientific Research Council. For me, I was always a curious mind. I was always mixing things. I was always trying to discover what was around me. And like most persons in the Caribbean, we grew up very close to nature, very close to the land, the trees, the river. And I was always curious about what was happening. I was always the one looking out to say, what could that plant do? What could I extract from this tree? So I was always scientific minded. I was always entrenched in the sciences. And when I was younger, we used to have this little nursery rhyme kind of where they say, either you're going to become a doctor, lawyer, Indian, or chief. Scientist was nowhere in there, but I knew I did not want to become a doctor, lawyer, or an Indian chief. So it's later on I discovered what I could really channel my thoughts and what excited me into the field of science. And sadly enough, it's not until I got to university I learned about careers in sciences, because in high school, our high school programs tend to be very structured and geared towards either you becoming a lawyer, teacher, medical doctor, a nurse, and careers like those. Because if you're of a particular intellect or skill set, you're normally directed to medicine or the part of becoming a nurse or medical doctor. So luckily for me, I always did the sciences. So when I eventually got to university, I realized what my creativity could have been used towards, which is how I became a chemist. Now, for me, it has been very, very good, very, very rewarding. I have been very fortunate to have had great mentors, and most of my mentors have been men in the field, because mostly men have been in the field of science, as we heard in the opening. But I've been very fortunate to benefit from some awesome males who have tutored me, guided me along this path. And now I am trying to ensure that I increase the profile of science and STEM careers to ensure that that gap is continually reduced. We're reducing it in some parts, like in chemistry, biology, but in engineering, math, and physics, you're still not seeing enough women or girls participating. So I'm ensuring that I'm doing my part to reduce that gap.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Shara. Now it's the turn of Adriana. Please, will you share us with you what motivated you to be women in science, and how has your path been in this area?
Again, thank you for having me on this panel. I'm excited to be part of this amazing forum. I want to share that my initial interest for science started with Carl Sagan and watching Cosmos, because I was ill a lot of the time in my youth. So I had to stay home and watch TV. So I watched Carl Sagan and nature shows, and that really motivated me to study astronomy. Then when I was about 12, 13, I had a good sense of engineering. I would take apart my Walkman and the VCR and things like that to fix them in my bicycle. And that helped me with my ability to figure out problems and become a problem solver. With that in mind, I wanted to go to the university to study astronomy and physics, which I did at the University of Arizona. And that led me through my path to lasers. And then I went back to Colombia, where I continued to study holography and optics. And from there, I moved to back to California, where I worked at laser companies. And my career has been mostly also working with a lot of men. But at Los Alamos National Laboratory, where I currently work, there have been a lot more women, not 50-50 per se at all, but and I should have these statistics, but it is pretty close. I work with a lot of women scientists, and I enjoy working with men and women equally. So we all incorporate in our great team. So that's been my experience working in science and all the math and physics that we're doing.
Perfect. Thank you, Adriana. And the last one, please. Ada, will you share with us your experience? What motivated you?
You're muted.
Now I'm not? Good? Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, because this opportunity doesn't come easily when you are surrounded by amazing women. And let me tell you about amazing women. I did not grow up in a traditional family. My family was my mother, my aunt, and my grandmother, and they were all teachers. So education was very important in my house. So we have a lot of books. And among those books, there was the Time Life library set, the life science library set. And there was one book which I really loved. It was the weather book. So you never underestimate the power of books, right? So my aunt motivated me to be part of science fairs, and I loved science kits as birthday gifts and Christmas gifts. And I was always looking at the clouds and trying to anticipate what the weather was going to be like. So I knew from a very early age that I wanted to be a meteorologist, but I never realized that there were no women meteorologists in Puerto Rico. So when I started to volunteer at the National Weather Service, I understood why. And there were a lot of military men, and, you know, the concept of women in the science of weather was not there. So when I started working, I went to the University of Puerto Rico and I studied math and physics. And then I had a NASA fellowship to go to do my master's degree in Florida State in meteorology. So when I went back to Puerto Rico, I came back as a forecaster. And I was so happy to be able to be part of this incredible team at the National Weather Service. But as time progressed, shift work was very difficult for my family. So I decided to teach at the University of Puerto Rico. And then in 1997, I went to the broadcast field. And it has been an amazing journey for me. So I think that being a first meteorologist, a first women meteorologist in Puerto Rico has helped me to inspire other women in the career. And we have now more than 50 women meteorologists in Puerto Rico. So I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of all of them.
Thank you, Ada. Thank you very much. It's very, very interesting what different paths and motivations, each one of us. Well, the second question we have is related to the first one. So, what are the key factors perpetuating gender STEM gaps? So, we will start with Alba again, please.
Thank you. So I think there is a lot of different factors that we have to take in consideration. In my experience, being, I think it's the traditional household, but then also being an immigrant in a new country, learning the language. In my experience, as a first generation student, college student, as well as first immigrant coming into the US and learning a new language and kind of diving in. I think I felt like there was a lot of societal beliefs that were kind of installed in me from a younger age. And so I think it still applies in a lot of different areas in the world. So thinking about the societal beliefs that what women and girls should do, and what they can do. And so I think having the negative stereotypes impacting women in the way that we, especially at a younger age, when girls start thinking about science, thinking about, like the differences between, usually when they start in elementary school, math and science is usually equal for boys and girls. The participation is about the same. But then as they go into middle school, it starts dwindling down because I think there's stereotypes and a lot of different things that role models that might not be there start kind of perpetuating in the sense of that might not be as encouraging for girls. And so
Perfect.
I think
Perfect, Alba. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Shara, will you share with us what are the key factors perpetuating gender STEM? You have 1 minute, please.
No problem. For us in Jamaica, it's a little bit different. We actually have more female participating in STEM related subjects all the way through to university. When you get in the professional world, in the working world, in industry, you're finding in some areas men are outnumbering women, especially in the engineering field. In the other areas, we have more women. For example, here at the SRC, we are about 75% female and 25% men. And I think one of the issues that leads to the gap, we just think you see generally happening, is really our responsibilities as women to really carry on society, where we sometimes have to step back from our professional lives to really carry the household. That is still very much limiting us in expanding or taking up leadership roles in the STEM industry or STEM fields. So that's one of the
Thank you,
areas I
Shara.
think.
Thank you very much. What about you, Adriana? How the key factors you think is perpetuating gender STEM? Please,
What I
you have a
have
minute.
experienced here in our small town of Santa Fe in New Mexico has been that as a family of both my husband and I being scientists, our daughters' classmates, there's a lot of peer pressure in terms of, oh, I'm bad at math. I don't understand math. Math is too hard. I don't really like it because I can't do it and it's too hard. And I've heard parents their parents also say, it's too hard. Oh, I was so bad at math always and I couldn't do it. And so I offer to tutor and I offer to help their children with math and science and other sciences. But I think it starts from the home and giving the children self-confidence that they can do it. It just takes a lot of work. I personally have dyslexia, and I have had to overcome my dyslexia, and my oldest daughter has dyslexia as well, but she made the honor roll and the top of her class both classes last year, and I'm very proud of that. Because we encourage hard work and we applaud hard work. Nobody's saying math is easy, but the hard work is what pays off no matter what gender.
Thank you, Adriana. It's very, very important what you mentioned. So, Eva, will you please share with us?
Oh, I agree. My three daughters, they're not scientists, but they grew up in a home where science was valued. And for example, we inspire them to participate also in science fairs, to read about science, and at least have the skills to be problem solvers, to think critically about things. So I think the support system starts in your house. And that's why involving parents in the education process and also opportunities, it is extremely important. Also, there's a lack of education programs and funding for providing opportunities to girls. I mean, writing grants is difficult enough, and then finding the grants is also another process. So I think that we need to concentrate, that each of us have a way to inspire others, and especially to produce the programs and opportunities to incorporate those missing skills for them at least to consider STEM careers. You don't necessarily need them to become STEM, to have a STEM career, but even if they're a lawyer or even if they are, an economist, at least they can have the skills to be, people that can inspire and can have productive careers as well.
Thank you, Ada. Yeah, that is very important. Family support is very important, as all of you has been addressing. It's one of the most important things that we have to develop a good decision for STEM careers. And in this topic, which are the challenges facing women in STEM? Alba, you got 1 minute, please.
I think from a lot of the students that have come back and kind of mentioned some of the things, and when we have those conversations, it is about the role models and the support systems that exist in a lot of jobs, especially if they're male dominated. Sometimes, not always, but there are not as many supports in that end, because then they feel also very self-conscious about being the only woman, for example, in a team with men. And so, but a lot of them, it's just encouraging them to make sure that they are, pushing the boundaries, finding support groups, networking, finding those other people that might be in your, that could help you through this journey as well. So I think it's important to have those networking opportunities, to meet with other people that have very similar careers to you, and have those great support systems. I think if we create those, that will help a lot of women, especially girls, in creating the next role models for them as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alma. Shara, will you share with us?
No problem. There are three main things in my estimation and my experience that really challenges us in the field. When you're going into research, most of it takes a lot of time, dedication, staying hours at end in the labs. And then you have that security concern around it. How do you feel safe being in your lab for extended hours? Men don't necessarily have that same concern and have that same safety consideration. So that one of the barriers to us excelling as we might want to, and being able to put in as much as we need to. Then we are undervalued. We are not, the compensation packages for female scientists is not the same level that a man can demand. Sadly, in this day and age, that's still a main issue. And I mentioned earlier the responsibilities that us women have to carry on the household that makes us have to step back at times and put our career on our shelf to carry out the household and then hopefully pick it back up. So those are the three main challenges that I have experienced and I know other women have experienced.
Thank you, Shara. Adriana, what about you? What do you think?
Yes, I agree with both Alba and Shara. And I also want to point out that the challenges can be coming from, again, the peers and the opportunities that are presented to students. One fun activity that Los Alamos has is a 2-week-long free summer physics camp for young women of high school and middle school if they are taking any algebra classes. And what we've heard from them is that they don't have the same opportunities as other people, where the axes or influences of their friends might be more towards arts or entertainment or activities like that. And yes, they feel isolated if they have an interest in math and science. And so this is a good out for them to be able to participate with others who have the same interest, and being able to share with them that you can find female scientists and female engineers and female role models in all parts of STEM careers is very important, because that way they know that they're not going to be alone or isolated or feeling excluded if they choose a career in STEM.
Thank you, Adriana. Yes, peers experience is very important to motivate and to face these challenges. Ada, would you share with us, please?
Yes, sometimes it's very hard for women to be bullied because of the way you dress or the way that you look like. And this happens quite often. And sometimes, you know, as you become a professional, right, that hurts a lot. And you have to be very strong and focused to really address these issues. Also, struggling with family work is very difficult sometimes, but it can be done. But especially when we have young women who are, you know, growing, and sometimes they lose confidence, as you were all saying, you know, because of math, because of the physics, because of the biology or chemistry. And this is very important, that we change the way that failure is okay, is a needed path for success. And I hope that in the way that we are addressing our education programs, we also bring in some of these societal aspects into the equation, because that's part.
Thank you, Ada. Thank you very much. And besides these challenges, there is a tough topic that here comes. And what is the role of education in inspiring more women in STEM programs? What do you think about it? You have 2 minutes, Alba, please.
Thank you for that. So yes, I think as Adriana mentioned earlier, I think it starts from home. It starts from, you know, parents who are encouraging students to pursue, you know, STEM careers, for them to try out whether math is hard, and not disencouraging, you know, their students, kind of finding those ways to support and best give, you know, to the students as well. So in regards to, you know, tutoring programs, mentoring programs, things that will help their students succeed, especially starting at a very young age, thinking about how, you know, the things, the type of toys that we give, right? I mean, so we're not only talking about the formal K through 12 education, but even like, you know, the type of toys that kids are exposed to. A lot of women especially are not, and girls are not being taught, and that's the difference between boys and girls, and especially in engineering, because they're successful at it, spatial skills. So having like that early on, and then having the equitable access, you know, and programs that provide that equitable access to students, to girls, And then having that growth mindset environment, I think those are the things that we have to consider when we are doing it, right? Encouraging students, encouraging the girls especially to continue in STEM, giving them the opportunities to see people in the field that look like them, that maybe have similar experiences as them. So I think it's increasing the opportunity, increasing the achievement out there. I think there's a lot of different things in getting the girls to be encouraged, but also feel like they belong there. One of the things that we do a lot is actually providing opportunities to visit the campus so they could see, what a campus looks like and demystifying what STEM is like, that anyone could do it. And if you try, there is math, there is other things involved, especially, for example, with engineering, but that they're capable of doing it, right? That they see themselves in there one day. So we start even with kindergarten students visiting our campus and getting to see that and getting them that confidence that they belong and that they will be there and they'll have that support system when they get there.
Thank you. Shara, which is the role of education in inspiring more women in STEM programs?
Right. I fully support everything that Alba has said. She has really encompassed it perfectly. And it's really just to add to what she has pointed out or to bring it home a little more, is really changing how we think about education, especially here in the Caribbean. We have a very structured Westminster type system where we look at education as kids going into a class for a set amount of hours and presenting them with information that they then will be tested on. Changing that whole experience and really bringing more real life situation and problem solving or solution seeking into our education program will be absolutely critical to inspire all children, not just women, to participate in science. And if we're going to be developing the solutions for the problems that we face in our area, this will be absolutely critical. So education is fundamental, not just for participation, but for our survival and for us to thrive. So education is fundamental and critical, but the way that we view education must change, and how we educate our children have to change for it to be more involved and be more all-encompassing.
Thank you, Shara. Thank you very much. Adriana, will you share with us the role of the education in this kind of decisions for women?
Yes, I would like to add to Alba and Shara's wonderful comments that from what I've experienced, and also again, I say with my daughters, is that education plays a huge role when you start with a capable and competent teacher. We've had teachers who have been less than competent and present material that if we weren't scientists and we weren't engineers ourselves, we would not know that what they were presenting was erroneous or wrong. So it has to come with, and then if the students carry that mistake forward in their education, then when they aren't capable of passing calculus or other higher math or activities, then they're going to wonder what happened, why are they not getting the information, why they're not understanding or the material. And it starts with high quality teachers, for which we need high quality funding, for which we need quality institutions to provide that to the teacher so that it can trickle down to the student in an accurate way. So education is very fundamental, but the education that is being provided has to be rigid. It has to be rigorous, and it has to be accurate for it to be further successful for the children.
Thank you, Adriana. Eira, will you share with us your answer?
Yes. Oh my goodness, you have talked you have talked everything. Education is everything for a human being. It's the way that we empower, the human mankind to do great things. And I think that we are in this part of history where education and STEM education is extremely important, but also education with empathy. And education starts in the house, it goes in the classroom, but there's also something that is called informal education, which is also a complement to what is being taught at the classroom and at the house. And informal education is the opportunities where you don't get an A, B, C, D, or F. It's an opportunity to grow in knowledge and participate in processes. And there you can add not only the STEM education, but also leadership opportunities. You can add communication as writing, as reading, and also speaking, also handling emotional aspects. So there are a lot of things that you can do with informal education. But in Puerto Rico, especially after Hurricane Maria, with the earthquakes and with the pandemic, we need to see education with a community approach in a way that what you know, the knowledge that you have, how can you put it to the service of the benefit of your community? And something that we are trying with the Ecoexploratorio, with the Science Museum of Puerto Rico, with the Science and Community Program, is trying to round the education on what you know, how you can serve and benefit your community by doing projects, by inspiring others, by taking care of the underserved or of the persons that need the most help. And that is something very important that we as scientists, we need to care also for our communities. And that combination is very important to me. And I know it's very important to all of you.
Thank you. Definitely, science must be the address to the benefit of our community, right? Not only to the knowledge, but to have a well-being, to have a better social interactions, etc. Definitely, that is one of the most important things about science in women and guys and everyone, who is decided to study science. Now here is a very, very important question, because this is about you. You are huge models of this. You are a big examples of what is women in STEM careers. So I want to ask you about how have you influenced more women and girls to be part of STEM programs? Alba, you got 2 minutes, please.
Yes, thank you. So I think it's important to say, and I agree with everyone who has said beautifully all of the things about STEM, but I think it is important to think about that education is a key that opens doors. I think we see it as a big thing. I am a big supporter of education, and I do believe there's many of you who brought up a really good point. Education is a very complex system, and we do need to take in consideration, and I think we have all noticed this within the past year and a half, of the importance of teachers and how we should educate and we should promote more professional development for them, the pay as well. I think there's a lot of different things to do. So right now, one of the things that we focus on at Georgia Tech, especially at Seismic, it is the outreach and the support to those teachers. So we provide with a lot of professional development for those teachers, thinking about curriculum that it's equitable, that it's actually has equity in the middle of it as well. We do want to focus on providing that opportunity to the teachers so then they can change and turn around and do it and change their students' view of STEM. And then so we actually are very thankful for a lot of our partners, because foundations and organizations have actually supported this role. And I think it is extremely important to do that. So when all you mentioned about, I think Ada mentioned about the grants, we are very thankful about the fact that we get supported by grants from the National Science Foundation, from Amazon, from the Honeywell Foundation, from NCR. We have all of these beautiful partners who have actually dedicated a lot of their funding, their employees, their time to actually give back and provide that support for students. And they have actually become role models in many cases. They have come to the classrooms, done activities, make science fun, make STEM, technology fun. One of the organizations that I'm a manager of is Code.org in the regional partnership here at Georgia. And one of the things is we want to focus on the whole entire state, right? And making equitable access for everyone in education. We focus a lot on women, but it's still, of course, a very big thing on education in that equitable access to everyone.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you very much. Shara, will you share with us how you inspire another girls and women?
All right. So for me, it's from two levels. One is from the institution which I represent, the Scientific Research Council. We actually have a popularization program, which from the national level, we push to popularize science and technology. And we do a lot of work in schools, especially starting from infant school all the way through to university. So we have several conversations similar to this. We have a conversation in science series. One of the recent staging we had was actually one called "Not All Heroes Wear a Cape, Some Wear Lab Coats and Heels," really bringing forward women scientists and having them share their experience. So from the institutional level, we have structured program to help popularize science and encourage participation in science by women or girls as well as boys. And from a personal level, I love to share my story. I love to share my experience. And I'm hoping through that I will, create some new imagery that science doesn't have to look a particular way. Scientist doesn't have to be a particular way. You can still enjoy a full life. You can still be like anyone else and still knock and kick things out the park where science is concerned. So I share my experience. I'm very active on social media. I share that I still have a full normal life, because sometimes people think that when you're a scientist, you're bound to this little box and you can't enjoy anything but being in a lab. But we do live full life. We do enjoy normal things too. So I share that experience, and that is how I am using my platform as much as I can to encourage other persons to participate in science and technology.
Thank you very much, Shara. That's very important. Scientists really have a life, they do have a life. Adriana, how do you influence women and girls?
Again, yes, similar to Shara, the laboratory has a lot of community outreach programs. Santa Fe has Santa Fe STEM activities, and with other scientists we get together and we have workshops where we gather and teach small projects for the girls, the physics summer camps, and those are all platforms put on and subsidized by the laboratory. But on the small scale, on the everyday scale, what I like to do is share tidbits of accurate information. For example, little trivia that can be something that resonates with somebody. And then, like for Ida, the book on weather, maybe that's what inspires them to move to a career in science. I share, for example, that 30 centimeters is the length of distance that the light travels in 1 nanosecond. So you start to think about what's a nanosecond? What is the speed of light? How does light relate to distance and traveling through time? And that can lead to questions. And then we start to talk about the universe or expanding the universe. And small questions and small acts like that can lead to opening the horizons, opening the minds for seeds to be planted, and those seeds can grow from there.
Thank you, Adriana. Very, very important what you have said. Ada, could you share with us how you influence others?
That's a very interesting question, because I hope that every time I talk on TV or write in my social media, I am positively influencing someone, because you can do good by the way that you behave, and that's why you become a role model. But I have 3 platforms. First, through television. I work for WAPA TV, and I have a science and meteorology section where we bring, young people to present projects, and especially women who are doing great things in Puerto Rico in terms of science. Also, scientists from the United States that are Puerto Rican, that are also part of the scientist community. Also, the Ecoexploratorio, that is, the nonprofit organization that I founded 11 years ago with the main purpose of educating about science. We just had 2 projects with JetBlue Foundation and also with Cortiva Foundation, in which we are also providing programs and opportunities for young women so that they can learn about engineering, science, agriculture, and also with the meteorology program in Maya West, where we are focused also on providing opportunities for women and being part of the major conventions of the Meteorological Society, the American Meteorological Society. So I just hope, that being, part of this community has helped others to understand that you're not only a scientist, but you also are here to serve. And this is what I like to talk about also with the people that I educate, especially women.
Thank you. Thank you. I like that. It's very, very important to show the people that they can be like the people that you are interviewing, that you are presenting, because there is something important here. Once in a lifetime, all of us, we were kiddos, Now we have grown up and we have developed the skills and the knowledge and etc. into the science. So that is the most important message. You are a kiddo now, but you can be that kind of scientist. You can be that person that can provide benefits, problem solutions, etc. And you can be that science. So in this full appreciation of sciences and about talking about how we can influence and motivate others, I would like to ask you, as closing this talking, a reflection about what will you suggest to women and girls to go for STEAM career? What will you suggest? You have about 1 minute, please, each one of you, and please give your advice to these girls. Alba?
I just have to say, be forth and conquer. Just try it out. Be great in STEM. Find those role models and those support. I think a teacher could make a huge difference on their lives, but I think having parents make those foundations from the beginning it's great. And then also finding opportunities for STEM out there. There are so many organizations willing to help. There's organizations that provide, support with STEM. So even for those students who might not benefit or who might not think that they could afford even, for example, going to a camp, there are so many opportunities even in your local library where there is a lot of, support, and there is a lot of different things and activities that are done for students. So I think it is extremely important for girls to be encouraged to follow STEM, and then for them to pursue the science. It could be a really great career. And then there's some jobs that have not even been created yet. It is up to you to create them.
Thank you, Alba. Shara, what will you suggest?
Yes. So for me, I would tell any young woman, any young girl watching this to dream big. Don't be fearless in what you aspire to be and achieve. But don't stop at dreaming. Ensure that you wake up and then put in the work, because absolutely anything that your mind can conceive, you absolutely can achieve it. It started out with me with just thinking about what was on the trees and what they could do. And I'm literally doing that now, not knowing what path I would have taken, but eventually I got there. So although the middle might be unclear, just have that dream, wake up, be fearless in your quest, and go for it. Work hard. It's not easy. Nothing easy is enjoyable anyways. Dream big, work hard, and go for those goals.
Thank you, Shara. Adriana?
Definitely, hard work pays off, and I do tell young women and girls that they have to believe in themselves, and that's a lot harder said than to be done than just saying it, because when you don't have the support, it's hard to believe in yourself. But trust that what you want, if you persevere, you will achieve. So like Charo was saying, and Alba, you have to work hard, you have to dream big, and know that what you're doing is the right thing that you want to do and you want to pursue. For example, for me, I wanted to be an astronaut. And when I'm in the laboratory by myself and I don't have a immediate way of figuring something, I trust and I go back into my self assurance that I've been trained, I have the knowledge, and I have the capability. I believe in myself that I can do this. I can do this, and I figure it out. Maybe sometimes I call Houston and Houston can help. But at the same time, you have to believe in yourself and persevere and work really hard to achieve your dreams.
Thank you, Adriana. Ada, please.
I think that you need to pursue your passion. What makes you happy? And that is so important because there's just one life to live. And you cannot be discouraged or you cannot lose interest. You need to read a lot, and make sure that you're making the right decisions for yourself, not for your parents, not for your friends, but for yourself. And many people along the way are going to tell you that you cannot do it. Oh my goodness. You will have so many people that will try to deviate you from your path, but make sure that you persevere, because that's the right thing to do, because that's what makes you happy. And please make sure that you engage into wonderful things that can benefit your community and that makes you proud of yourself, because I am sure that you will be a great leader, you will be a great woman, and you will have a great life. So go for it and persevere.
Thank you very much, Ada. Now we are closing this interest talking, and I want to make a kind of abstract of this as a short one. I would focus on the advice, the suggestions, to motivate and influence our women and girls. And I will go with some of your phrases that you expressed in this. So I wrote them. And we have here, hard work pays off. So trust in yourself, please, trust in yourself. Empower yourself. If you don't find the empowerment in another place or something, empower yourself. Look, be curious, search. Do not accept a no for an answer. And I have this one that for me is very important. Every time somebody says that you can not going or pursue for something, think that that person is talking about its own limits, not yours. So it's very, very important that we have the trust in us is the most important thing. And that I want to say here and to be as a remark in this group is all of these girls that you are seeing here, we all have families. We all have kiddos. We all have pursued our dreams. And here we are. So, yes, 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 you can. Of course, yes, you can. Thank you. Thank you, my colleagues. Thank you, Alba. Thank you, Shara. Thank you, Adriana. Thank you, Ada, for sharing all your experience, your knowledge, your motivation, and to be that inspiring spark for every girl, for every woman, and for everyone. I want to thank you, WEF, for this opportunity to have this token and to make us to coincide here. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
It was a
you.
pleasure.
Pleasure.
Our
Bye-bye.
pleasure.
¿Oyes eso? Son los rumores del cambio que trae el mar. Abre los ojos. El resplandor del sol asoma en todo el Caribe. La transformación se respira en las calles de todo el continente azul. El mundo nos pide a gritos que nos juntemos, que unamos nuestras voces. En tus manos tienes el poder de construir un futuro mejor, para ti, para ellas, para todas. Trasciende.